First off, welcome to the channel, guys. Second, we're going to talk about bucks in the summertime leaving your property in the fall. This is another topic that could be controversial depending how you look at it. Let's dive into it. I've been deer hunting for 25 years. I've seen a lot of things, and the idea of having these bucks on your property all summer long is a bad thing, because they're going to shift home ranges and leave your property in the fall, and you're going to be left with no bucks or a different batch of bucks. Well, bucks are very individual. They have individual mindsets. Everyone has a different personality, just like human beings are. Some deer like to be left alone, and isolated, just like humans. A lot of times I like to be alone and isolated from other people, just because that's how I am. Seems to be the older you get, the less you want to be around other people. That's how deer are as well. In my opinion, when it comes to deer and habitat improvements, when you can have the best food on your property year round, and say a buck cruises by and he sees that quality improvements on your property, food plots, bedding, whatever, he will be back no matter what time of year that it actually is. There's a lot that goes into it. So yeah, deer shift home ranges. Most of the time they want to be in different places in the summer than where they are in the fall. Where they're on the fall, they want to be in different places in the summer. Bucks, when they're growing velvet, they're very tender and sensitive, on their antlers. So they may want to be in more of an open ag setting if that's in the area that you're hunting. Open timber, sometimes they get into these cool breezy areas to keep the bugs away and stuff. It's very situational. That is true. But just because they're there in the fall or in the summer doesn't mean they're not going to return in the fall. It's if your property is unpressured, 100% they're going to return. For instance, I had a buck this past year, that was on the property all summer long. He's seen the habitat improvements on the property, the trails we created, the bedding, the mock scrapes, the food plots. He's seen all that. He was there, he's seen it. And when September rolled around, mid-September, he did disappear for about 3 weeks. Then he came back, and I was able to shoot him. Why did he disappear? Well, who knows? Food sources at that time of year are changing. Acorns are dropping, beans, corn, and everything's being harvested. He probably shifted a little bit and was probably feeding on acorns a little, some. Deer season started. He probably got pressured a little bit wherever he was bedding. And I do know that he was not bedding on the property. And that's another thing where people say, oh, well, if the buck's not bedding on your property, you're not going to kill him. Well, I've killed many bucks that have never been bedded on the property, because when you have quality food and unpressured food, a buck will find a quiet place to bed, whether it's on a neighbor's or on your property. He will find a place to bed wherever he feels safe, wherever that may be. Now, obviously, if you have bedding on your property, that increases your chances for sure. And unless you're in there spooking it out and busting out that bedding area, then no, the buck's not going to be there. Would you want to be there? Probably not, if you're constantly getting, bumped. Then I've also seen, where bucks, are there all summer long, and then they stay on your property all fall long. It's wherever they feel safe and wherever they have a high quality food source. If you're in there blowing out the woods, walking through it all the time, hunting, massive hunting pressure, people walking through it, wide open in the fall, then no, probably deer are not going to be there. If you have a thick property in the fall, and quality food that's unpressured, absolutely, every buck in the area is going to come through there. It's just very situational. Each buck thinks differently, but again, just because one person says something, okay, black squirrel, just because one person says something doesn't mean it relates to the entire country, the entire states, every state, every person's hunting property. It's very situational, guys. You gotta stop taking everything like that it relates to everybody, because it's not true. It doesn't relate to everybody in the country, everybody in the world. Each property is different, 50 miles apart, 10 miles apart, 5 yards apart, or 5 miles apart. You know, every property is different. If you have bucks there in the summertime, it's not necessarily a bad thing. They will be back if your property is unpressured, high quality food source, and you have cover. If you're there's a deer over there. If you have deer on your property in the summer, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Relax with it, and you know, just go with it. Just have fun and stop overthinking things. Another thing I notice as well is once you kill a mature buck on your property, typically another buck will replace it. It'll do the same exact things on your property as the buck you shot did. It relates to your property the same. It's just how it goes, it's from what I've seen. So I have summer food on my property. I'm in an ag setting. I have clover in there right now, mainly for turkey hunting, but we're leaving it there to feed the, you know, help feed the deer through the spring and summer, even though they have tons of ag, because I don't want to leave bare soil. The clover was already there. Am I really benefiting them by feeding them that clover? Probably not. It's not really helping them much because they're in ag. There's tons of beans everywhere. So it's just there. But I want to have that fall food in there to attract deer, because after the beans and corn get cut, there's nothing left. Then you have, you know, your property itself where you dig cuttings, TSI work, you have open canopy to attract those bucks during the fall in thicker cover. And to learn more about TSI and habitat improvements, give this video a watch right here. Subscribe if you guys are new. It's much appreciated.